Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk. Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chris Lee Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Mr. John Campia.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, on this fine and glorious day. Good morning, Chris Lee.
Good morning, John. We also have in studio our amazing guest host and director of the upcoming film, The Death of Superman Lives. What happened, Mr. John Schnepp?
What happened, eh? What's going on?
All right, guys, we're going to get things started with this. As many of you know, The Amazing Spider-Man not only has a sequel hitting AMC theaters in 2014, but also Part 3 in 2016 and Part 4 in 2018. Many people have speculated that Mark Webb's series will culminate in the fourth part with the long-awaited Sinister Six. In a recent interview, Webb hinted again that we may see the villainous group come together in the fourth film when he said the following: I think for the fourth movie that we've discovered is there are so many ancillary characters that have enormous cinematic potential that there may be other ways to exploit those characters in a way that is exciting and fun and worthwhile. It might not just be a Spider-Man movie. Schnepp, what do you think of a Sinister Six and The Amazing Spider-Man 4?
I think it's great. I mean, I think the only thing that would have been better is if they made 6 Spider-Man movies and Sinister Six was in the 6th Spider-Man movie, which they still have time to reconsider. But in this case, that they're making a 4th Spider-Man and committed to it and made a release date, it's really exciting, especially for someone like me who, when the remake of the Spider-Man series with Webb, I kind of waited a really long time because I was like, I don't want to see the origin story again, and I was just kind of like, and then I finally saw it and I really, really liked it. I really enjoyed it. So I'm excited about the second one and the third one and the fourth one. And if they are going to do the Sinister Six, which it seems like they're bringing in like the Vulture just as like side characters in a second movie, just setting up some of the characters, I think it's going to be really exciting. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for this too, and I've been on record as saying before, and some people don't like that I say it, but I do believe The Amazing Spider-Man, the one directed by Mark Webb with Andrew Garfield, is better in every single way than the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Not as good as the second Sam Raimi Spider-Man, but that's just my opinion. I really like the job they're doing. And you know, for me, it's always a big thing when studios show confidence in their properties. And when Sony came out and said, yeah, we're not only doing a sequel, we are planning and moving ahead with Part 3 and Part 4, it tells me they've got a long-term plan. It tells me they know what they're doing. It tells me they have a lot of confidence in the property. Now, I'm okay with not doing 6 films before getting Sinister Six. That might start to feel a little redundant and repetitive, but I love the fact that they're culminating with the Sinister Six, if they are, and we're all just speculating at this point, but it really does feel like that's the way they're going with it, and if so, I'm completely thrilled. Now, of course, the original Sinister Six, Doc Ock, Vulture, Electro, Kraven the Hunter, and I think Mysterio and Sandman?
Or Lizard, maybe Lizard.
Lizard, I don't think it was in the original Sinister Six. I don't think he was in, but at different points, it's kind of like X-Men, right? There are different characters. Like I know Venom at one point was in the Sinister Six.
Right.
There was a new Kraven the Hunter at one point. The Lizard was at one point, but I think that's the original. Now, what Sinister Six they'd go with, if indeed they are going to do Sinister Six, I don't know, but I think it would be kind of cool if they did the original. Schnepp, what do you think?
I don't know. What if they just did the Sinister Four? Why does it have to be 6?
I suppose, you know, in the comics, there was a short time where they had the Sinister Seven. There was the Sinister Seven for a very short time in the comics.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, dead serious. There was.
Wow. Then they could actually do the Sinister 9 and have just like 9 villains attacking Spider-Man. Just the most craziest chase movie. 90 minutes of him running around. That would be pretty horrible.
Love it. Okay, what's next?
Amazing Spider-Man's my favorite Spider-Man movie, so I'm super excited for more to come.
Awesome.
As regular viewers of AMC Movie Talk know, a Fantastic Four reboot is on the way and will hit AMC theaters everywhere on March 6, 2015. The film is being directed by Josh Trank, who recently directed the surprise hit film Chronicle. Now we seem to have had our first real signs of life from the project, as it's being reported that the new Fantastic Four will start shooting this September in Louisiana. There has still been no official cast announcement, but rumors continue that one of Trank's Chronicle stars, Michael B. Jordan, will take on the role of Johnny Storm. John, what do you think about Fantastic Four going into full motion?
It's good to hear, because every once in a while, you know, you hear about these films that these are happening, this is happening, this is happening, and then sometimes it falls apart before you actually see it come to fruition. So it's kind of nice at this point to see that, yep, the wheels are in motion, they got everything put together, everything's moving ahead, and they're even getting ready to shoot. Now, I believe they were originally planning on shooting in Vancouver, so this report that they're shooting in Louisiana indicates a change of plan. Either that or they're just rearranging their shooting schedule. Maybe they will still shoot in Vancouver, but that's not really important. Of course, the real question that a lot of people are going to be talking about is, this film starts shooting in September. That's only a couple of months away. They still have not announced a cast. I have to believe they know what their cast is going to be at this point, or at least they're close to knowing. But this rumor of Michael B. Jordan going around playing Johnny Storm, I know that's going to get a lot of people talking. I'm not thrilled. I used to like the idea, but now I'm not thrilled with it. And it's not because Michael B. Jordan's black, actually. Because, you know, generally speaking, I don't have a big problem with changing races with characters. I think he's a little too young. I don't know if I want my Fantastic Four to be this young. Not that I want 40 and 50-year-old Fantastic Fours, but, I mean, Reed Richards is supposed to be one of the world's smartest men, and you don't get to be 22 and be one of the world's smartest men, generally speaking. So I wouldn't be thrilled with Michael B. Jordan, but I would certainly give it a chance and see how it worked out. Schnepp, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to hear that it's moving forward, but I'm one of the people who really hated the other Fantastic Four movies with a passion. Because Fantastic Four is my favorite comic book. That's the first comic book I read as a kid because it was all about monsters. And you know, I'm hoping they're not going with like a college set Fantastic Four kids where Doctor Doom is their pal and his origin is tied in with them. That would just be horrible. It's like, there's a thing called the comic book that you can go by. It's written like maybe 45, 50 years ago. I can't remember now. It's so long. In the 60s. And that origin has stayed true. Every iteration has been a little bit different, but it's pretty much kind of stayed the same. Fantastic Four is about a family of crazy changed monsters who work together and fight other monsters. So I don't know. I'm a little worried about it. So I'm hoping that Josh Trank is able to hold it together and make a really cool movie. I loved Chronicle. I know Mark Millar has been like having dinners with him a lot. That's what Mark Millar keeps saying. So I guess they're really good friends, and maybe we'll see what happens, right? So just don't ruin Doctor Doom, or I'll come after you. Fox, don't be idiots and make Victor Von Doom's origin tied in with the Fantastic Four. He's friends with Reed Richards. It's not like they're all tied in together. You made me. Well, I made you first. All that Batman stuff. You know, the superheroes existed before 1989's Tim Burton Batman. That was just happened to be a script thing where they're like, hey, let's tie Batman into the Joker's origin. And ever since then, every single comic book movie has to tie the supervillain's origin with the superhero's origin. And that's just not simply the case at all with almost all of comic book lore. So, guys, get it together and read a comic book. It's like sometimes you hear like, why don't you read a book, you ignorant idiot? Well, I'll say that about read a comic book, too. That's what you're deriving the source material from. Read the comic. And
all right.
Rant, so.
All right, folks. Well, we've reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Chris Lee has a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and Schnepp and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
Walt Disney Pictures has revealed the poster design for Saving Mr. Banks, starring Emma Thompson, Tom Hanks, Colin Farrell, Paul Giamatti, and Jason Schwartzman. The film opens in select AMC theaters on December 13th and then goes into wide release on December 20th. The film recounts the story of Walt Disney's desperate efforts to get Mary Poppins author P.L. Travers, played by Thompson, to agree to let him have the rights to make a movie out of her beloved book. Schnepp, buy or sell the new poster for Saving Mr. Banks?
I think the poster's interesting. I'm going to have to sell the poster. It's not really that, it doesn't get me excited about Mary Poppins or Disney. It seems like here's two people walking and there's a shadow, It's like, I know it's Mary Poppins' shadow, but
I'm going to disagree with Schnepp on this one. I'm going to buy this one wholeheartedly. I think, now granted, we have seen the whole shadow imagery thing done before, like the Phantom Menace poster, right? With Anakin, and then you see the big cast shadow of Darth Vader. It's still a really neat device, and I love the way it's used in this, especially when you understand what the film is about. I think this film has Oscar written all over it. It is one of my now top 2 or 3 most anticipated films for the remainder of 2013, and I eat it up. So yeah, for me, it's a buy.
I mean, let me just say, I can't wait to see the movie. I'm excited about seeing the film.
We're just talking about the poster.
Yeah, just the poster alone. I'm selling it. So.
All right.
But Walt Disney's shadow is Mickey Mouse. It's a buy.
I know. I thought it was great.
Buy.
Sorry, I'm against shadows. I'm afraid of my own shadow. No shadow posters. I don't know. So.
On yesterday's show, we showed you the first posters for the upcoming Keanu Reeves film, 47 Ronin, and shortly after the episode, the first official trailer for the film hit. Shortly after a treacherous warlord kills their master and banishes their kind, 47 leaderless samurai vow to seek vengeance and restore honor to their people. Driven from their homes and dispersed across the land, this band of Ronin must seek the help of Kai, played by Reeves, a half-breed they once rejected, as they fight their way across a savage world of mythic beasts, shape-shifting witchcraft, and wondrous terrors. John, buy or sell the first trailer for 47 Ronin.
I gotta sell it. You know, I've been so looking forward to this movie and the sounds, but I didn't do a lot of research on the film because I haven't wanted to. I just, hey, samurai in a quest to revenge their dead master, sold. I'm in. But then I saw the trailer. It's like, oh, you mean this? It's a whole bunch of supernatural stuff and a whole bunch of magic. And don't get me wrong, I love supernatural. I love magic. I love all that kind of crap in movies. But for this samurai film, I was just wanting a samurai film. So give me some time to get over my disappointment. I'm sure I'll get on board with it later. But for now, for me, the trailer's a sell. Schnepp?
I'm totally the opposite, yo. Today we're flipping it, yo. Buying it. I didn't want 47 Ronin shuffling around and having breakfast and like crying about being 47 Ronin. I wanted dragons. When I saw the upside down chick, I'm like, yo, she's a snake. So, or a dragon or something. I'm so excited. I'm jacked up about it. After I saw the trailer, I was like, all right, it's going to be supernatural, because I really didn't want to see 47 shuffling samurai crying about not having a home and like out and shivering. I was like, I want have them fight stuff. So. I'm jacked up about the trailer.
All right.
It has beasts, witchcraft, and they have to go back to the guy they made fun of. It sounds like a win all around.
That's right.
You break my record, now I break you. The classic Jean-Claude Van Damme film Bloodsport is getting a remake as V for Vendetta, and the Raven Helmer, James McTeague, is set to direct. The original Bloodsport was released in 1988 and was Van Damme's first major hit. The remake is said to be taking place in the underground fighting world in Brazil. Schnepp, buy or sell Bloodsport remake being directed by James McTeague.
I'm going to sell it. I think it's, just make a new movie. Why call it Bloodsport? I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it. It has nothing to do with the original one, or Jean-Claude Van Damme's not in it. It's just sort of like, what about using this title Bloodsport? It feels like some kind of like I don't know, Golden Globus rush on weird movies that were like a hit from the 80s. What about just call it, robot creatures attacking? I don't know. I don't get it. Why use Bloodsport? It makes no sense to me. Unless it's about car racing and they're able to work in a video game. I don't know. I mean, I just, got to let that one go, guys, right? So Bloodsport, no.
All right. For me, I'm going to sell it as well. And everybody knows I'm totally fine with remakes. I'm cool with remaking anything. But I got to agree with Schnepp on this. If you're going to move it from Brazil, like move it from its original setting over to Brazil, it's not Frank Dukes, and you're changing the story a bit. It's about a different type of. Then why call it Bloodsport? Yeah. If it's not a remake, don't have the same title. Do a remake of Bloodsport. I'd be curious to see it, but this doesn't sound like a remake of Bloodsport. This just sounds like another tournament film using the same name. So for me, it's going to be a sell.
Last year's Lionsgate film, Dread, ended up being a bit of a financial disaster for the studio, but that didn't stop critics and audience who saw it from loving it. Despite the affection for the film, a sequel seems quite unlikely, but the film star Carl Urban has recently spoken out about how fans should be vocal about wanting a sequel because it could help. Well, 2000 AD, the publishers of Judge Dredd have created an official petition to send to Lionsgate in the hopes of getting a Dredd sequel made. Most recent reports say over 10,000 people have signed the petition so far. John, buy or sell a petition to get a Dredd sequel made?
Oh, dear God, I got to sell this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am the biggest cheerleader for Dredd. I loved Dredd. I want it to have a sequel. The film made $13 million domestically. I think total worldwide it made 35. It was a financial bath. So what do you think a petition's going to do? Guess what? They did a petition a while ago. Studios use this as their precedent. There was a big petition. Get a Firefly movie made. And, you know, we're passionate fans. We're small, but we're passionate. And they made the movie Serenity, and it was awesome, and none of you went to go see it. So studios today, petitions are pointless. They're not going to, just because you get 10,000. And what does 10,000 signatures do? What does 50,000 signatures do? If all 50,000 people who sign the signature go at an average of $10 a ticket, the movie just made $500,000. I mean, so what's the point? It's not like studios, not like there's a law out there. Hey, if you're a company and people sign a petition, you have to do what they ask. Lionsgate ain't going to do crap about this. And I can't blame them because they took a big financial bath, because a lot of us audience goers didn't have the, a broad enough, mind to go and check it out, because all we thought about was Sylvester Stallone's, and I don't blame people for that either. But it's a shame. Dredd was awesome. I thought it was incredible. I want to see a sequel, but I cannot blame Lionsgate for not doing it, although I hope they do. I can't blame them, and a petition is certainly not going to do anything to change that at all. Schnepp, what do you think?
I have to buy and sell? Can I be on both sides?
Sure.
Selling it, signing a petition, if you want to get on 2000 AD's mailing list and find out more about the Judge Dredd comic books, then sign that petition. But other than that, and just a show of good faith, that's really all the petition is. It's not going to help really at all. I agree with John. It's like 40,000 fans said that they want this. Where were they when the movie opened? Or where were they? Did they buy the DVD or the Blu-ray? It's sort of one of those things where it's like the only way to get a Dredd sequel is to have someone like Carl Urban keep talking about it. For all of us to keep talking about it, like right now on this show, make a Dredd 2, you guys. Don't be stupid. Do 2 of them. Make them for $20 million. Just shoot them back to back. Be smart about it. It's Judge Dredd. You could shoot it in Detroit right now. Detroit is like a post-apocalyptic landscape where you can blow up a building, an entire city block for $10,000. They should be shooting Mad Max and Judge Dredd and every post-apocalyptic movie from now until the end of time in Detroit, because it's really cheap right now to buy city blocks and destroy them. You'd actually be helping the economy. So I say shoot Judge Dredd 2 and 3 in Detroit, and you'd be rocking it. It'd be incredible. It would be the most amazing thing that you can make for $20 million. Imagine how much destruction that you can do. You could rebuild entire cities. You could blow them up and then rebuild them for like $10 million. I'm just saying. I'd love to see a Judge Dredd 2. I loved the first Dredd.
All right, well, we've reached that part of the show called not buy and sell, we just did that, called Mailbag. Hey, listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we answer a couple every day here on this show, but we also answer a lot more on our weekend Mailbag shows. So send in your question. We get about 1,000 a week, so please don't be, irked if we don't use yours, but send in your question, make it your best one, and maybe we'll get to it on AMC Movie Talk. Maybe we'll get to it on AMC Mailbag. For now, Chris Lee's got a couple of messages pulled out of the mailbag. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
Stephen Carroll writes, hello, Movie Talk cast. There is a report going around saying that Leonardo DiCaprio has decided to skip on Star Wars Episode 7 so that he can appear in the upcoming, hopefully, Robotech live action movie. If this is true, it makes me feel better about the treatment the movie is being given. Also, to skip on Star Wars, he must be a huge fan of Robotech. If this is true, have you guys heard anything to validate this, or is it just a rumor? Would be pretty cool to see him in a Robotech movie.
This is less than a rumor. There's a rumor and there's less than a rumor. Don't be fooled. Folks, whenever you hear something outrageous like this, look into it. See what the source is. And unfortunately, this is coming from a source that I won't name, but a source that is becoming increasingly unreliable with their scoops. And that hurts me because I actually really like the guys there and I like hanging out with them when I have the odd chance. But it's like my dad. My dad can tell me I caught a fish this big today. I love my dad dearly, but I'm not going to believe him. And look, first of all, there's something wrong with your mental faculties if you think for a second that, first of all, Robotech is no closer to being a reality now than it was 3 years ago, unfortunately. And also, unfortunately, Pacific Rim, the financial results of Pacific Rim is making it even more difficult for films like Robotech or other things like that to actually get moving and get off the ground. But one of the biggest things that makes me think you'd have to be crazy if you actually believe that Leonardo DiCaprio is looking at being in Robotech is Leonardo DiCaprio right now is considered one of the best actors on the planet. He is just consistently one of the best. And he works with the best. The guy is used to just hanging around with and being directed by Martin Scorsese, for heaven's sakes, and other big name directors. Right. And who's directing who is said to be on right now for directing Robotech? I can't remember the dude's name right now, but he's never directed a feature before. He's a commercial director. Not that great directors can't come from directing commercials. I'm not saying that. But right now, he hasn't done anything. So you think Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be all anxious and chomping on his fingernails to line up to do a Robotech movie that they haven't been able to get off the ground for like 7 years? They've been trying to get this thing going. After a Pacific Rim has just lost a studio big money. It's just ridiculous. And once again, look at the source. No, this isn't true. This isn't true in the least. Anyway, Schnepp, what do you think?
John, I heard like a different rumor that Leonardo DiCaprio was going to be like, he's leaving Star Wars because he wanted to be in Thundar the Barbarian, the live action version. That's what I heard. He's going to play Thundar.
Actually, Schnepp, your news is out of date. He's actually now turned down Thundar to be the new Flash.
Wow, because that was yesterday. Jack Black was going to be the Flash, so maybe Jack Black's going to play Thundar the Barbarian. Leonardo's going to play the Flash.
No, right. He's replacing Henry Cavill to be the new Man of Steel in the upcoming Man of Steel and Batman film.
That, you just blew my mind. That's the new rumor.
So Schnepp, do you put anything in this at all?
What, the truth about it? No way. It's no way. When I read that, I laughed out loud because, Leonardo DiCaprio would leave Star Wars to make Akira because that's his own company is invested in that. That's something he would like to do. Robotech, sorry, I've never even heard of the two connections until yesterday, and it's just like, where's this news coming from? Not that it's not like 1% out of a million possible, but that just seems like bizarro, like strange conjecture that somehow somebody ran with, and then it's popping up everywhere.
All right, what's next?
First, before we get to the next mailbag question, I just think that AMC should start the rumor that Chrysalie is going to be the next Wonder Woman. Just throwing that out there.
I actually heard that from not Joss Whedon. I actually heard that from Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder called me. I can't prove it, but Zack Snyder called me and told me they're looking at Chrysalie Kennedy as the next Wonder Woman.
You know what? I don't want to start like false rumors, but yesterday Jean-Claude Van Damme called me. And told me that Chrysalie Kennedy is going to be Wonder Woman
in the Bloodsport remake.
Shooting it in Brazil, and it's like hardcore, like UFC fighting style stuff. I don't know. It's weird.
Awesome. All right. Brittany Laughlin writes, love your show. I'm writing from Kansas City, official home of AMC.
It is. Actually, AMC's headquartered in Kansas, as a matter of fact.
Brittany's brother also works for the AMC 20 out there.
Justin.
It's a family thing.
Justin.
I enjoy free movies, but I am looking forward to spending all of my money in 2015, especially when Superman versus Batman comes out. Anyways, on to my question. John, on a previous show, you had mentioned that you suspect that Warner Brothers has had this movie planned for months before Comic-Con. And even before the release of Man of Steel, I think so as well. That being said, do you think that when Henry Cavill was asked about a possible Superman versus Batman movie, that he knew that he was going to be making this film?
Great question, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I do believe they've known for a very long time what their roadmap was going to be, and they were just playing it kind of close to the vest. Like, I don't think they knew it 6 months ago or a year ago, but I think they've known about it for a long time. As far as Henry Cavill knowing, you know what? I'm finding Hollywood is more and more becoming on a need-to-know basis. Look, I wouldn't put money on this at all. But I would not be surprised to find out that Henry Cavill maybe found out about this maybe 3 weeks before Comic-Con. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all, because why does Cavill need to know? He doesn't need to know. And the only thing you're doing by letting Cavill know is running the risk that, if some kind of smart, reporter on a red carpet somewhere or in an interview asks him a tricky enough question that he may slip and let some detail out before they drop the big bomb at Comic-Con. There's just no point. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he didn't know about it, because he's not essential to it at this point. Anyway, Schnepp, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like maybe a week out into, right, like a week before, it's like, hey, by the way, here's the poster. They probably showed him. He's like, what, Batman? Yeah, that's how we're doing it. I mean, he signed on for multiple sequels to play Superman if it's a success, just like Brandon Routh was signed on to play multiple Supermans back from 2006. And for about 2 years, Brandon Routh kept saying, well, yeah, we're going to shoot like a darker Superman. There's going to be fight scenes in it. So he was signed on, and they had talked about doing a sequel. Then Bryan Singer went and did another movie, and that delayed that. And then it just got delayed so much that, Warner Brothers, realized, hey, maybe we should just reboot this. Henceforth, Brandon Routh didn't play Superman. Henry Cavill's now back in, got the role. So yeah, he signed on to play it, but I don't know if he had the inside scoop. I mean, to be honest, my guess is that, David Goyer and Zack Snyder started playing with it like maybe a month or two before the premiere of Man of Steel, because they still had Justice League and all these other things floating around, and Batman had just come out. So, David Goyer tied in with Batman. I'm sure it was kind of a simple fit. Like, hey, are we going to do a Batman standalone movie and then do the Man of Steel? Or are we going to wrap them all together and make like a super punch? So I think that's kind of like, I agree, like 6 months down, in the past is when this all started bubbling up. I'm sure the script is done, because it has to be done if it's going to be coming out in 2015. So
I agree. All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for us. We've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today. Listen, while I've got you, take a second. And if you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, and of course our daily AMC Movie Talk show and our weekend AMC Mailbag show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. And going out and see a movie tonight. I have it on good authority that Wolverine is opening, and this would be a good time to mention to you guys, we're doing a review of Wolverine tonight. Me, Schnepp, and we got a special guest joining us. We're going to shoot a Wolverine review tonight as soon as we come out of watching the film, I mean. So tune in for that. So go on over to www.amctheaters.com for all your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look into the description of this video, and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. And once again, click the thumbs up button to let us know you like the show, and click that subscribe button to become one of our subscribers. I want to thank, as always, our lovely host, Miss Chrisley Kennedy. Chrisley, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chrisley. I love your tweets.
And, of course, the one and the only Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you?
Yeah, on Twitter at John Schnepp. Just follow me there. You find out all the silly stuff I'm up to.
And you can find me on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, wherever, at John Campy. It's just that simple. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Most important part of the show is not what we have to say, it's what you have to say. Jump on down to the comments section. Leave your thoughts, agree or disagree. Be respectful, though, on any or all the topics that we commented on today. So thanks again. Until next time, my name's John Campy, and until then, bye-bye.